I'm Madelyn Blair, and this is Unlocked. Now, if you're serious about your career, this show is for you. Whether you're a formal leader or not, you are always the leader of yourself. And decisions about yourself are ones you make. The question is, do you have options? And Unlocked is a show all about opening possibilities so that when you are hit with the unexpected, you do have options from which to choose. Now, if you're watching on YouTube and LinkedIn, welcome to those avenues. I hope you'll take advantage of the fact that you can put in comments during the show or questions during the show, and I will be reviewing it periodically during the show. And when we see something that we can respond to, we will do so. Our topic today is tuned into your intuitive superpowers. We're going to offer strategies and techniques to tap into the knowledge and guidance available to all of us. Now, while you're thinking about what that might mean and what you would like to ask our guest, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I'll be introducing you to our guest for today. So stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Unlocked. I'm Madelyn Blair, your host. You know, I often facilitate meetings, especially of teams. And as I work with a team, there is a moment when I suddenly sense the team has gelled. Now, what do I mean? There is a sense that they have connected in some way with each other. I mean, it's not that they agree on everything or that they even know each other deeply. It's a time when they know they're in it together. Somehow, and I don't know how, I sense this moment. I suspect every facilitator who's watching says, I know what you're talking about, Madelyn. In fact, as I said, any good facilitator knows it. Those are times when I know the team and its work is going to be great. Now, I've been to many conferences where scientists congregate. Don't ask me why I do this. I just love science. So when I have a group of scientists listening to me, I tell them about this moment when the group gels, and I challenge them to measure what is going on. What's the force that is moving among the members of the group when they gel? Now, usually scientists just sort of roll their eyes. And then I tell them this story of Michael Faraday, the man who discovered that when you pass electrical current through a wire, a magnetic field is created around that wire. It took Faraday 10 years to convince his scientific community that what he saw was true. Now, finally, he could show this to them by using metal filings that would suddenly align when he turned the power on. the scientific community saw too and realized that he was right. And all he needed was a tool to show them. So I ask the scientists to please find or make the tool that will show that when a team gels, something is really happening. Now, they don't roll their eyes anymore, but they don't know quite how to respond either. I think it's just a mystery. Now, today, I'm curious to hear what my honored guest will say about my question. So today, I'm really excited. And oops, she is gone. She is gone. She's not on my screen. And I hope, Lisa, that wherever you are, you have figured out that you have to sign on again. Well, I'm going to keep on going because I want to tell you about who's going to be joining us. Her name is Lisa Long. Now, Lisa is a high-performance intuitive coach. She helps her clients get clear and aligned with their higher self. She's about helping all of us get rid of those pesky, limiting beliefs so that life can flow. She's a master psychic executive coach and is a go-to expert in helping leaders expand into conscious awareness of how the energies of the universe work and how to incorporate those concepts into their everyday lives. Who are her clients? Her clients are in the White House press room, the United Nations, Air Force Two, and then there are celebrities, publishers, studio execs and producers, doctors, dentists, surgeons, attorneys, FBI, police. I get the picture. She works with people from many walks of life and who have major impact. Just in time, Lisa Long. Let me get you on screen.
I totally must have some resistance.
Please don't, no more resistance.
My Wi-Fi totally crashed. I'm sorry about that. I had to restart the router and everything.
Oh my goodness.
And I have a gigabyte. I mean, like really high level internet.
Transmission. That's a good one. I agree totally. Well, I just finished introducing you.
Oh, good.
But you know who you are. So they know a little bit now about you. But
and do they know about resistance? And that they create their reality.
Perhaps you need to talk about
that. That was I've had resistance to being seen for, I don't know, 60 years, or I'm 66. So it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I was raised with, children are to be seen and not heard and stuff like that. And so those old belief patterns don't make waves and all that stuff. You have to get rid of them to be seen. And that's a pretty big one for a lot of people, because you'll notice that a lot of people, even on Facebook and stuff, they don't even put their photos up yet because they're too scared to put their photos up, to be judged.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because we feel it.
Yes.
We feel it. When people judge you, you feel it. And when you're a little kid, you get impacted with that energy. And so then a lot of people hide and don't want to go out there and be who they are.
Mm.
And the more you go out there to the world and be who you are, well, it takes balls.
Well, speaking of which, now you've begun to talk a little bit about yourself, but I would like the audience to know just a tad more about how you found yourself in this moment of what you do. Obviously, you have an enormous impact on the world.
Well, everybody when they come in as a little baby, they're have you ever noticed little babies, when you look at them, they're like a little Buddha baby?
Yeah.
They just radiate love.
Yeah.
They're so excited to be here, and they're happy and everything. And that's how we all were. And we're all aware We're all psychic. Psychic is like a band. It's like saying I see blue. It's kind of hard to explain. I see red and yellow and orange. So there's a lot more to it than just I see blue, right? But that's the word people identify with. But it's intuition and awareness and consciousness, and we're all connected with each other. That's why sometimes you'll know somebody's just going to call, right? Oh, I knew you were going to call, right? All that. We have all this awareness. And when you're little, you get impacted with the energies here because this is a very dense place. Earth is dense, and it's like MIT of the universe. It really is. So if you're here, you're really brave. This is dense. And so waking up from a dense reality. So we come in aware and awake, and then all this stuff hits us, and it scares us. It's like you see stuff floating around. When I was little, I saw little dark things floating around. I saw energies egging my parents to fight each other, and egging them on, and stuff like that. And you don't know when you're little that other people can't see that.
Yeah.
And so I stayed awake, but pretty much through elementary school and high school. But then I kind of started turning it off a little bit, because you get involved in the world and doing what you think you're supposed to do. And then after I had my kids, I was in Hawaii, and I had a wake up with basically an angelic visitation. I guess if you're religious, you'd call it a calling, where priests say they got their calling. And then I started waking up again, and I went full time into it. And I had an advertising agency in Boulder, Colorado, with offices in Boulder and employees, and in Hawaii. And then I went into teaching the spiritual stuff with people and helping them understand. And so then you start turning your powers back on, your superpowers. Yeah. And when you start turning them back on, everything you avoided, like, I'm not reading chat, I'll take this off for now. So everything you avoided as a little kid, all that energy where you blocked it because you didn't want to know about it, you didn't want to see it. And you have to kind of sort through that stuff. And that's why they say you have to be brave. It takes a lot of strength.
Something that you said really for me was extremely helpful when you said it was like having a calling. Because I think many people experience that moment when they really feel called to do something. It may be a new profession, or it simply may be that they have to do something. Thank you for that. That's a great way for me to think about how people suddenly discover or become aware. Maybe it's a better way to say it.
Well, you get heavy. It's like, if you're not going, see, what happens is it's ask and receive, just like the Bible says. And so if you ask for, I want people to be nicer to me, I want a better relationship, I want a better job, and you're not asking, like, you can by praying, but I teach people meditating and listening more than asking, because your whole life you're asking. So all day long you're asking thousands of times. It's just innate is the word. And so it's constant asking. I'd prefer this, I'd prefer that, I'd prefer this, I prefer that. But most people get stuck in what they don't want. They get stuck in this job sucks.
Have I ever heard that?
Yeah, and when they focus on that, then it creates more of that.
Got it.
But when you say, I want a better job, or you ask internally, I want a better job, I want a better job, and you're just doing it every time something like that isn't nice. It doesn't happen. It's it's really interesting because you don't really have to ask directly because you're doing it all day long. And then source is answering. Your higher self is answering. Yes, 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 yes. Because your higher self knows and knows you know what you want. And that's our free will. And so then your higher self creates that in your future. It actually becomes that version of you with the better job, with the better relationship, with more money, happier. So it actually becomes that version. But if you don't go, if you don't, like if you're stuck in a job and your higher self keeps creating this new job, but you never go because you're too scared because
Yeah.
you're stuck in, well, but I have insurance here or whatever the excuses. then you start feeling heavy. Your back gets full, you get stressed, you feel heavy, you hate going to work, your body starts shutting down, literally, because your life force is over here in the forward, because higher self's forward. That's where your life force is, and you're still here. So you got this gap, and that gap is your emotions. That gap is what you feel. So if you feel heavy and yucky and depressed, you're a long way from joy, happiness, and a wonderful life, which you've already created. And so when you start letting go and say, okay, and that's the calling, because the further your higher self goes, the calling gets stronger because you feel it's like a rubber band. You feel it, right? And so if you, oh man, I'm feeling this gap, I'm feeling something, then you go, okay, well, what would that be? And if you start asking yourself questions, and so if your mind's going, oh, I hate this job, it sucks, it sucks, it sucks, but you can stop that pattern. That's called law of attraction, because that's a pattern that's going to keep going. So you have to be kind of strong to stop those patterns you've been running a long time. And a lot of them were run by our ancestors. So it's not like that easy. That's why it's MIT. That's why we're in MIT. And so then you go, okay, well, what would be better? Maybe there is something better for me. Maybe I can find something better. Wow, that would be cool if there was something better. So you start asking the questions, and then you just kind of let it go. And you'll start feeling better as soon as you do that. And that's your guidance that you moved. Like, say, if your higher self's here and you're here, you just moved forward toward your higher self. Because your feeling is your guidance.
You know, this is exciting for me because one of the practices when I work with people around resilience, one of the practices is ask questions. Ask questions all the time. And I don't specify what kind of questions they should ask or, expecting an answer. No, that's not important. The important thing is to be curious and to see all the things that pique your curiosity. So that fits in so well with what you're talking about. Because if you're constantly looking for things that pique your curiosity and asking that question, you're going to also be supporting, if I understand you right, that calling.
Yeah, and resilience is a great word. It's really good. And I like your little intro where it says it's unlocked.
Opening possibilities.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love that. That was great. And then it went. You froze. I thought, oh, she's frozen. The questions open you up. See, the answer's always there. Because it's ask and receive, but it's on a higher vibrational level than where you're at. So if you're in depression or something, you're on a low, you can't hear the answer. So as you move up the vibrational scale, which includes anger. So if you're really depressed and you go into anger, that's a good thing. Just don't stay there.
Yes.
Just go, okay, I can do this. And you get some power. You can feel that power coming back.
Yeah. I've often said to people, anger is good because it energizes you to keep going.
It does. And it moves you up toward hope, right? It's like, oh, I can do this. And so when you ask the questions, but you got to understand to ask the questions that are positive or at least neutral. So if you're really depressed and you ask a positive question, your tummy's going to crunch.
Mm.
And your tummy crunching is kind of your guidance that you're out of balance. And so if you try to jump too far, like if you need a lot of money and you go, I'm a millionaire, your tummy's going to crunch because that's too far of a jump.
Mm.
But if you go, well, maybe I can find somewhere, or maybe there's an opportunity for me that I haven't considered, or maybe something's coming that'll be better for me. So if you kind of just leave it a general smooth question, then you move to the next level. See, you're moving through dimensional realities.
Mm.
We're all in different dimensional realities, and every option exists. Every possibility exists at the same time. So
Wow.
you can go up or down, whichever you want.
Mhm.
We have free will.
That's right.
There's nobody pulling our strings. Your higher self is saying, this is what you've asked for. I'm over here, but you don't have to go, and nobody's going to judge you. Source doesn't judge. It's got forever. Eventually you get
Well,
there.
in my language, Source always loves us. So,
oh yeah, totally. And it's staying in that
like
vibration.
any parent. That's right.
Right?
Like any parent, all they want is the best thing for you. So,
yeah, and they're always staying in that vibration of love. But if you're in the vibration of anger or fear or hate or jealousy or any of those, that's why you feel like crap. No, literally, that's why you feel like crap, because your source is at the vibration of love and joy and happiness and appreciation and wonderment. Like when you walk outside and you see something beautiful and you go, wow, that's pretty. Yeah, that's alignment with source. You'll feel it.
I love that. I love that example because you're right. When you are struck by something of immense beauty, I say that beauty is all about opening the heart. And that's perfectly in line with what you're saying because you really do feel that beauty.
Yeah, and you're aligned with source looking through your eyes.
Oh, cool.
That's your see, we're source. Source is creating us as it's a little more complicated, but it's like a tree. There's a trunk. Say the trunk is source. And then they have all the branches, and those are like your higher selves or your oversouls. And then those branches get smaller branches. And those smaller branches are like us into the material plane. And then you have a leaf on the end. Well, the leaf is your body.
Wow.
And so then when the leaf falls off, right, dies, you're still there. You're the branch. And so then you grow a new leaf and you have a new body. That's reincarnation. You have more experiences. And then, but you're still all connected with that being, right?
Yeah.
And then so the higher level you get vibrationally, because the creator of everything is beyond comprehension from our little pea brains. But you can feel it.
You can feel it. Yeah.
It feels like love.
Yeah.
It feels like wonderment. It feels like happiness and joy. You know how a little kid will go out and they'll look at a bug for an hour?
Yeah.
That's it. That's source appreciating creation. And so when you get in that energy of appreciating creation and you slow down, that's why they say, smell the flowers, walk in nature, and because then you're appreciating creation. And when you do that, it brings more of your higher self in. And the more you have your higher self aware and awake, and you would call it opening your heart or whatever, but the more you get that in your body, your level goes up and your body gets healthier because you're running more life force, prana, chi, all those energies is life force. But if you have a belief, I'm not good enough, then that's like having pliers. So you've got these energy channels running through you. And if you have these beliefs like, I'm not good enough, pliers, you got the energy running through and it hits that belief. And if you don't change that belief over time, it can create disease because it's out of alignment with who you are. And you can get, I look better now and feel younger than I did 20 years ago.
I can relate to that.
Because the more you get higher self energy, it's more life force, right? It's fun once you get it, but you got to get rid of the crap that we were programmed with. So what I help people do is deprogram. Yeah, but I mean, you got to, buy my program or whatever. I mean, if they don't buy my deprogram, it's like
it sounds a little scary, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have a question from our audience.
Cool.
This is from Jim, and he says, Lisa, I've read recently that humans and other animals have an inbred bias as a reaction to occasional scarcity, to choose more rather than less. Can you speak to this predilection?
Well, our DNA DNA is programmed.
Right.
And there was a guy in Russia, it's probably 30 years ago now, and he had a laser and he shot this laser light through a frog embryo into a salamander embryo. Now it might be the other way around. It might have been a salamander into a frog, but whatever he did, it actually changed the DNA and ended up with the frog out of the salamander. He actually changed what grew out of the egg. It's you can Google it, just frog into salamander, Russia, and it comes right up. And the DNA, your mind reprograms your DNA. But we came into a very dense reality. And so these things, our parents and everybody, they came out through a lot of struggle and suffering and lack. And we're in duality, so both exist. It's both ends of everything exists. So you can't have up without down. You can't have black without white. You can't have, right? Everything is in duality. And so if you have lack, you also have abundance. Because it's the same stick. It's just we're focusing on the lack end. And so, and that's been inherent for thousands of years. And so when you start focusing on the abundance end, and if you're looking for money, it's better to focus on the abundance end of abundance in general, like look at the leaves on the trees. And I lived in Hawaii 21 years. The banana trees, they would have so many bananas on them that there's no way you could eat them all. And then the tree would fall over so you could get the bananas. I was like such an example of abundance. And apple tree, everything, there's abundance everywhere. So when you start focusing on, wow, there's abundance there, and there's abundance there, and there's abundance there, then it opens your mind that there's other abundance. But there's still, stuff we had to clear from our childhood. Because if your parents were in lack and fear and scarcity, and you heard that, 10,000 times a year at least, and you were radiated with that energy, then it takes a little while to get through that old programming and change it to, the universe is abundant. Look at the stars. It's just amazing. So if when you get that, it starts reprogramming you, and just listening to this with the energy I'm running is going to help. But one thing is, a lot of those old beliefs, when they come out, it's an energy that we compacted. So if you compacted, I'm not good enough as a little kid, which is pretty common, or I have no value, or I don't know how to do this, all those little things we compacted. That's literally an energy that you compact and you kind of stick it in your energy field somewhere. And then when you say, well, maybe I am good enough, maybe God does love me, maybe Jesus loves me. Of course he does. He loves everybody. They all love everybody. Maybe, whatever works for you, then that energy starts releasing. And when that energy releases, you'll cry. You'll bawl your eyes out. And that's good because you just released a dense energy and you got healthier and you got more aligned with your higher self. And so, yeah, it's, can you read his question again? Because I want to see if I got that.
Sure. He's talked about the fact that humans are inbred, have an inbred bias to choose more rather than less. And you were just speaking on that.
Well, it's inbred because it's in the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And to choose more than less is our natural spiritual bias.
Mm.
Because your higher self is always creating more, right? The universe is expanding. So Source is expanding the universe. It doesn't want us to go for less. So it's kind of like you're it's not fighting, but we're having to transcend the inbred DNA limitations in order to bring into the spiritual realm here on Earth, the MIT, who we really are. And when everybody starts lining up with who they really are, can you imagine the beauty that we can create?
Yeah.
And the wonder and how we can help each other because we're not like hiding in our houses or be afraid to be seen like so many people are afraid to be seen and judged.
Lisa, we got a response from Jim. He says, we may be, thanks, Lisa. Imagination is certainly abundant for all who appreciate it. And he continued on to say, we may be in a time when we need to choose less. Do we?
Well, it depends. It depends on your belief systems.
Okay.
If you believe that there's lack and you choose more, then you're going to feel guilty. Right? So because your belief system is in conflict with your choice. So, but when you change your belief system that everything in the universe is abundant, then you can choose more and it'll feel good.
I think I want to interpret a bit what Jim might be referring to. Right now we have a place we live called planet Earth. And you talk about abundance. And in fact, the Earth is remarkably abundant in what it produces. But we have used it, I think, sometimes incorrectly. And so I think Jim may be referring to the fact that some of us should not be so greedy of what's available.
Well, what happens is when you choose more, see the dimensions all exist. And every version of Earth exists. So you can end up on the Earth that has bad stuff happen because it exists. But you can end up on the Earth that people are consciously choosing things that are like, there's so much more nice stuff now than there used to be, like biodegradable forks and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people are inventing all these nice things that don't pollute and that are made out of bamboo, or so it's the consciousness is moving in a positive way. And if you focus on the positive things happening, like there's a little kid that came in and I don't know, he was like 12 years old or something and invented something to help clear the ocean, between the ocean, right? There's all these wonderful things happening, and if you focus on that, it moves you to the earth where that is more and more possible. But if you focus on, oh, pollution's bad and we're bad people and we should be punished, which is some of the belief systems, then you move down into that earth. You literally create, because you create your reality. So you create what you focus on. And you can tell by your emotions whether you're going in the right direction.
Lisa, this is exciting to hear because I have grown up in a Catholic tradition. And therefore, I know that we are actually co-creators with God, that the eternal rests within each of us, that thoughts and actions that are generative, life-giving.
That's right.
They literally create the world. And I think this is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, I love that when you put that on the thing and you said, because I've never heard that from Catholic religion.
Well,
and I went to a Catholic convent. I was one of the first non-Catholics allowed in. My sister and I into the Haley Mills convent where they had the movie. I forget what it was. Was it Parent Trap or something? I don't. It was they filmed it there, and Elizabeth Taylor went to the convent, so it was all nuns, all girls. You know, stand up when they come in, sit down. It was hard. It was worse than college. Well, but I don't remember that. I didn't remember any of that.
Well, I will confess that I was brought up in that tradition, absolutely. And I have continued to study the religion. And there's much, much more to the tradition than you might necessarily on an ordinary day experience.
No, I thought that was great. That's whatever you said.
We are co-creators.
Right? Yeah. So when you have a generative thought,
yep.
See, source is on a high vibration, love, light, joy, happiness. And so when you have a generative thought, you're actually generating and aligning toward that energy. But if you have a degenerative thought, I'm not good enough, people are mean and crappy and polluting the planet and they don't care, then you're moving that way. So that's called law of attraction. And so the more you become conscious, that's the key. Yeah. It's called awareness and consciousness. So if you have a negative thought, some people, it's when you first start waking up, and after you guys listen to this, you might need to cry and drink a lot of water too when you're listening to it, because the water helps clear your energy. And when you first start waking up, you start becoming conscious of, it's like a record player that you've been playing. And you go, oh, I don't want to play that record anymore.
Yeah.
And then you start changing it, but just do a little bit at a time. This is kind of a key, because I didn't know that, and I would try to jump too far. Yeah. And then when you try to jump too far, it doesn't work because it backfires on you.
That's right. No, we I think live in an incremental nature. And it's when we try to do something that's not incremental that disturbs us. I mean, that happens in corporations when they make incremental change. Staff can absorb it and can deal with it. And then they move on to the next and the next. But if you make these violent changes, like major reorganizations without thought, then you have all kinds of problems. So.
Well, you can have goals, but I prefer targets.
Okay.
Because if you have a goal and you don't make it, then you blame yourself, right? Especially if you put a deadline on it.
But a target is just something you aim at.
But a target means, oh, well, if I'm going to be here someday, and then so say I'm going to create movies. I'm writing screenplays and stuff. And so then every time my targets are, I wrote a page, or I wrote a script, or whatever. When you hit your targets and you celebrate, even something as simple as mowing the lawn. When you mow the lawn, and I used to do this all the time. You mow the lawn and then you go do something else, right? You go clean the house, or that's not running the energy of I accomplished something. So when you mow the lawn, then you just spend at least 30 seconds. It doesn't take long to go, wow,
I did that.
look
Yeah.
what I did.
I
Doesn't
love
look
that, Lisa.
nice? Yeah.
I love that, Lisa. You know what that, excuse me, what that reminds me of is how we tend to also hold back on praise of people because it seems artificial, and so finally they never hear it. So what you're saying is let's begin with ourselves to recognize and acknowledge that we actually achieved something. I know when I used to have
Even
a huge,
little things like
yeah,
doing
oh
the
yeah,
dishes,
yes,
whatever.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, my husband and I, well, I actually began the experiment. I wanted to thank him for everything that he did for me. And I didn't tell him what I was doing. I just said, Madelyn, I'm going to thank him for everything he did. He passed me the salt. I would thank him. If he did the dishes, I would thank him. You know, it didn't matter. Well, after about a year, he began doing it too. And it's interesting. It does shift things tremendously when you begin to make those acknowledgments. It's such a simple thing.
Well, it's because you ended up on a different dimension, literally on a different planet with a different husband.
Whoa.
You're a different person. See, because every time you make a shift, and we're making them millions of times a second right now.
Mm.
And so every time you make a shift, you're moving to another infinite possibility. And so when you shift your energy just a little bit, so if I shift my energy right now and I go, this is so much fun, then what I did is I went from this energy to this energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so down the road, it's a big shift.
Yeah.
Even if right now it seems like a little, like if you're flying a plane, right? And you just shift a little bit, then eventually you get to a whole different destination. When I'm a pilot, so yeah, that it changes things for you in the future. So just these little shifts every day. Look, I mowed the lawn. Wow, it looks pretty good. I mean, I used to look at it and go, oh, shit, I guess I should get the weed eater out. No. I guess I should do this. You know, I was always, what do I have
next? What's
now?
next? What's next?
Yeah. And then I'd plow through.
Yeah. You know, it also reminds me of the fact that, and in particular in this country, we don't do very many celebrations. We celebrate birthdays, yes, but there are very few celebrations, minor celebrations that we have in our lives. And generally when I give workshops or programs or whatever, when we get to the end, I actually plan and design a celebration because people should be taking those moments to appreciate what they have done for themselves.
Yeah, and it's hard at first.
Yes, it is.
It is. When you've been dense, I came out of such density, I couldn't even look at the word God.
Mm.
I mean, I didn't even, God to me was God damn, and you know, and all that, because I was like, my parents were very violent and abusive, and it was all bad stuff. And so I felt like I was like totally unworthy of any of that love.
Mm.
And the first time I sat down to meditate, I closed my eyes and I saw all the things like when I was little, I looked at Playboys or whatever, right? All the things I wanted to hide from God. And I saw like all these things like going up into the light, and I went, oh no, don't see that. I don't want you to see that, right? And so I was trying to hide all my sins or anything, and that stuff just left. And it just went, and I couldn't, and then my level, and then I felt this warm, light love come in. Can you feel that? It's coming in right now.
Oh, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, see that warm light, it feels like liquid love.
Oh, wonderful.
And it comes in, And the more you allow that liquid love into your life, and right now it's coming down, it's down, going down. Now it's going down through my feet, so you guys can probably feel it. It's coming in, and allow that liquid light and love to come in, because you're worthy, because you exist.
That's right. That's
And
right.
if you were not worthy of God's love, you would not exist.
That's right.
Think about that, because
Think about that.
God's love continuously keeps us here.
That's right. You know,
And even if you die, your body dies, the leaf falls off, but you're still the branch. You still exist. You never. We will always. If you exist now, you will always exist.
yeah. That's an exciting thought, actually.
That's amazing. Once you get that, you're free.
Now, Lisa, I'm curious. Is there? You talked about the liquid love coming down. Is there some way we might do a kind of tiny demonstration that people can actually do for themselves?
Well, I have the release. It's called Lisa Long's The Release, and it's on YouTube. And I'll do a quick version of it for you all.
Okay.
Now I'll say the whole thing, and you can agree to it or not. It's up to you. And you can change any word you want to. You can change it any way you want to. And because at whatever level you're at, it'll be effective the way I word it and everything. But you might get to a higher level and you want to make the words a little different, and that's all fine. So the short version is, and then you just agree to it in your mind. You say, okay. And if you don't agree, it's fine. It's up to you. I release into the light any cords, attachments, energies, entities, commitments, vows, agreements, thoughts, beliefs, mine or others, or anything else I ever got myself into in this life or any past life that's not for the highest light, for the highest good for me. And I keep everything that is for the highest light, for the highest good for me. And people who are kind of aware, you might be able to feel a swirling on your head, like it's a vortex. It's like a energy swirling, and your body will feel lighter. And then the short version is, I release anything into the light that's not of the light. Or you could say, I release anything that's not Jesus doesn't want for me, or Buddha doesn't want for me, or whatever works for you, because they're not attached to the names. and then you go, it's even like walking through Costco. When you're sensitive, so when you first start waking up, you're going to get real sensitive to everything. And so this stuff is going to be like, oh, what's that? Oh, that feels weird. It just like walking into a store can be overwhelming because you can feel all the energies. So you just keep your energy clear, So walking through Costco, I would just wave my hand up into the light, into the light, into the light. Kind of like being a street cleaner. I don't want to pick up any of that stuff. And then you leave like this light trail, and people feel it. They feel this love. They feel this light. They're drawn to it. And so in Costco, I would wave my hand up, or I would just into the light, because there's so many people in there, and they're in their heads. They're like, I got to get this and I got to get that. Just like driving down the street when you're on the highway, especially in LA or somewhere, those people are tense. Yeah. And that energy is tense. And so So you just keep going. The light surrounds me. I'm one with the light. The light surrounds me. I'm one with the light. Right? And you just keep it's your intention. And your house, my house, only those of the highest light of the Christ consciousness or above are allowed here. Or the Buddha consciousness or above are allowed here. And you become real conscious of everything. And then eventually you get transparent when you get those old beliefs and stuff and energies out, because Source will help you clear them. Then you get transparent and you can just go anywhere. And you don't have to be, it's kind of like it goes on automatic, like your body automatically breathes and does the blood and stuff. It goes on automatic. So, right, it's taking that part and putting it on autopilot. So you don't have to do it so much consciously, but at first it's conscious. You become conscious of things, because we're in a planet where, and I did go pretty deep on this. but I mean, a lot of your people, they're going into corporations, and all these people are worried right now.
All of us are. There's always a concern. That's right, in today's world.
Well, and the people are worried about their jobs. And see, what happens is, as the energy gets stronger, their stuff comes up, and if they don't know how to clear it, then it makes them feel worse.
Well, let's really pick on that, because one of the things I always like to leave my audience with is some action that they can take that will improve their lives, will open possibilities for them. I think you've been talking about a lot of things, but why don't you just take a moment, and what is it that you would say if you could just tell them to do one thing?
Meditate. Start meditating. And I know praying is asking, and I guess there's several kinds of prayer. But you don't really have to ask. It's more like listening. Mm. So when you meditate, and the little book I have, it's called 5 Steps to Meditation and Be Meditating in 5 Minutes. It's a #1 bestseller on Amazon, and it's free for everybody who wants it. You just follow the link. And do you want me to put it in?
No.
Oh, it's private. You'd have to put it in.
That's right.
And you'll get on my email list for whenever I offer stuff. I don't bug people much. I don't send that many emails. And the whole idea is to tune in. And a lot of people tune in the shower, and a lot of people tune in when they're driving. Mm-hmm. Have you ever driven and felt like, wow, this is just, I feel so nice. I'm not worried about anything. It's because your higher self's driving.
Well, speaking of the higher self, we are almost out of time. So Lisa, I want to thank you. This has been illuminating for me. You talked about light. Well, I feel illuminated. In particular, I love the metaphor of the tree and the leaf. I think that's just a beautiful metaphor. And I know I promised you 2 or 3 minutes at the end, but I think you have used it.
Okay. Well, you can also look at like the brain. Everything is as above, so below. The brain, if you look at a picture, it looks like a tree. There's so many wonderful things.
Oh, yeah. It's a great metaphor.
In the universe.
Okay, we are out of time. Lisa, I'm going to cut you off. Thank you so much. And I want to invite everybody to go to the replays on my website, and they can find the link to your book and all those things. So again, much appreciation, Lisa. Oh, gosh, that was amazing. Amazing. I can't imagine where all the time went. Well, I think I have a lot of work to do for even myself, and I'm sure you do as well. This show is immediately available now on YouTube, my YouTube channel, which is called Madelyn Blair, along with all of my shows. And I hope you'll visit them at madelynblair.com/unlockedtv. I hope you found this conversation useful and something that will inspire you to do something new. And now for something very special. I've been asked to create something for those who ask for more than TV, more than blogs, more than my book. And I'm preparing something now, a program. And I want to create real value in it. So I'm inviting you to take a minute and send me the challenges and issues that you are dealing with these days. You just need to respond to me, send it to me to Madelyn at madelynblair.com. It's on the screen. If I get something from you, I will send you a copy of my book, Essays in Two Voices. Thank you again for joining us on this segment of Unlocked. I'm Madelyn Blair, wishing you infinite possibilities as you unlock your resilience.